good. And then I'm going to admit all. There's 25 now. Okay.
Hello.
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 Hi.
Hi.
Good
So,
morning.
good morning. I'm admitting people to the meeting right now, and I'm going to ask everybody if they could mute themselves. And all questions that are going to be related to this program, we're going to have four sections. And then at each section, we'll allow a couple of questions via chat. So please put your questions in the chat. I'll read the questions off, and Janet, our speaker, will address the questions. Okay. So I wanted to welcome everybody today. My name is
You're muted, George.
hello. Okay. Good morning. This is George Vanetis from Main Street, Oakland County. I wanted to welcome everybody today. It's 9:01, and we have another great presentation on using AI tools in small business. And this is part of our Main Street Connected series. And after this program, we have one more live one on in a couple of weeks coming up, and you'll get the invitation for that. And then also there's one more virtual one in October. Okay. I mean, in November. So today's speaker is the same one we had for the live one last month or a few weeks ago, Janet Hurn. Janet's CEO and co-founder of Future Ready Consulting. She resides in Cincinnati, Ohio. She's got a great her business really helps small business and communities. They grow through inclusive, future ready, future focused solutions, and she's really got a great experience and in the educational field, digital marketing, um, and using human-centered design to support scalability and sustainable growth. She also is kind of certified through Main Street America. She has trained over 1,000 small business owners with Grow, and she's also a Grow with Google coach, and she's did a special project with 20 businesses in the state of Kentucky, and so she's got a great background. She holds certificates in marketing, Google Analytics, AI, and more. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce our speaker, Janet Hurn. Janet?
Thanks, George. Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Love seeing everybody coming in. This is great. We got quite a good group today. So as George said, just feel free to put questions you have in the
Chat.
chat,
Mhm.
and we'll take them periodically as we move through. So thank you so much. It'd be great if you all want to throw your businesses in the chat just to say what your business is, but we're going to keep moving, but that way you guys will see where everybody's from, which is kind of cool. So as George said, I am the CEO and co-founder of Future Ready Consulting. I spent over 34 years in higher education. If you want to get in touch with me after this presentation, there's my email and our website if you want to check us out. We consult with higher ed adjacent, as well as small business, doing some really interesting work with Main Street America, as well as other clients that we have around the US. So thank you again for having me here. I had a great time when I was visiting before. So very excited to get started with this. So in our last session, we spent time working on part one of this series, and I wanted to do a recap, so we'll do that. We're also going to talk about how to train your AI, whether you're using TP, Perplexity, some of those. We're going to go ahead and do a how to train it so that it does work for you and it sounds like you, and you don't have random AI conversation happening that doesn't represent you and your brand. We're going to talk about how to be efficient with repetitive actions. How can you set up AI to help you with repetitive actions that you do in your business all the time, frequently? How can you make that more efficient? We're going to look at that. We're going to look at social engagement. How can you impact your social engagement with your customers? And we're going to talk about how to optimize search and then wrap things up. So we're going to move along here, but it is recorded. And as George said, throw some questions in there as they come up, and we'll pick 2 or 3 to do after each section. Really, if you look at all of this in whole, what we're talking about today is how do you get your business noticed in the age of AI? How can you use AI to get your business noticed, get those eyeballs on your business, and get more leads, get more traffic through your businesses? And that's what we're talking about. All right. So just a quick recap of part 1. The high level takeaways are: don't share sensitive data. When you're using AI tools, unless you know that they are locked down to your company, don't put financial data, don't put people's names, credit card information. You could put people's names, but don't put addresses and things that will get information out there that isn't already out there. Obviously, if people have LinkedIn and different social accounts, they have their name and email out there. So just be careful what you put in AI. You want to fact check everything. So AI can do what we call hallucinate. It can make things up, or it can grab information from sources that aren't very reliable. So you definitely want to fact check by either Googling some of that information or looking it up in a trusted source that you believe in, or asking it to provide references for you, and then you can trust that. Use trusted tools to start out with. So OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini. So those are the tools that we use the most. Those are trusted, popular tools that if they were not trusted, you would start seeing a lot of chatter all over the internet about how you could not trust these anymore. So use those trusted tools first and then expand from there. And I always recommend trying to use a paid version so that it's locked down if you really want to use this a lot. It's locked down and more trusted if you use the paid version. Check all your settings. We're going to quickly review that as we look at this today. But I wanted to tell you again, still, if you have a PayPal account, we found out last time, if you check out PayPal, there was an offer on there for a 1 year of Perplexity Pro. So check that out if you're interested in that. AI drafts, humans decide. So in everything we do, we never copy and paste over and just walk away without reading or looking at things that are produced by AI. Oh, and in full transparency, this outline and draft for this presentation was done with AI. The first picture on the front was done with AI. But this human checked everything and went through everything and added my expertise to the draft before I presented it to you. Where are some small wins you can get with AI? Marketing, operations, website, copy, and SEO and AEO, which we'll go over today. So there's where you can start with AI and then move from there. So that's a quick recap. And let's go ahead now and get into today's information. All right, so many of you had talked about wanting to learn how to train the AI in your voice. So we're going to go through a couple things, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a demo. So we'll have to switch screens here. But in order to train the AI tool you want to use the most, so maybe try a few of them. The one you end up paying for, or the one you feel like you're going to use in your business the most, is the one you want to train first. So you want to train it about you, your voice, your business, because once it understands you and your voice and your business, it will then put out material that is much more reliable and sounds much more like you. So for example, you can upload FAQs, frequently asked questions that you get from your customers. Upload that with answers to the chat that you're using, the AI tool you're using. Bios, put bios of everybody in your business that people need to know about. If your business is very dependent on you and your reputation, then go ahead and upload your CV, your bio, all those things. Give it your LinkedIn address, give it your business website. If you have products, upload product sheets, upload all that information, because the more the tool understands you and your business, the better the responses will be that you get out of it. And I'm going to show you how you can load those things in a second. We like to create Google Docs, or we have our websites, but we create Google Docs, and sometimes we have the chat help us prepare a voice brand Google Doc, then put that in and then attach that. The other day, I'm always forgetting our social links. So the other day I told ChatGPT, I'm going to give you my social links, remember them. So if I need them again, you can just produce them for me. So I did that. It's now in its memory, and I'll show you where that is. So now if I need my social links real fast, it'll pop those up as soon as I need them, and I'll have them. So it's kind of an extension of my brain. I don't want to have to remember all that stuff and go find it and all that. I can just ask it about my own stuff and it'll tell me, which is pretty cool. You're going to set some custom instructions for the AI tool you choose, which will set the tone you want to use. And again, I'll show you that, but tone is like, do you like to be sarcastic with folks? Is that how they know you? Are you very pleasant, polite? Are you straight shooter? You like to be frank and honest and straightforward? So you can set the tone so that the responses you get will be in that tone. You want to teach it about your audience, the people that most interact with your business or purchase your products. And if you have like a brand voice, you want to share colors, the brand colors, I've done that now with it, your logo. You want to share all these assets and explain what your brand is about. Maybe you have a couple different brands. If that's the case, you want to make sure it understands both of those brands and which brand are you using when you're doing the thing that you're doing. The more you provide when you're training your AI, the better. So don't expect it to know you. It's just like if somebody walked in today and I said, "Oh, tell me about my business," and they go, "I don't know. I saw your sign on the wall," right? So you want to train it and explain it and help people or help the AI understand you. And then that will help you build consistency. And you may think you're very consistent in how you write copy, how you write blogs, newsletters, all of those kind of things. But the AI will help you be more consistent. It'll help you use the similar words that you need, keywords, so that when people are looking for you and your business, they'll see similar and the same words. They'll build consistency, which is what the search engines love. Your emails and all of that, your customer replies will all have a similar sound to it. So when I am ready to utilize my AI to help me write something, I tell it to use my voice, and then it knows to click in and use the voice that I have trained it on. Okay. So let's go ahead and run, and I'll show you how you can get started training your AI. We're going to use ChatGPT for this. So let me stop sharing for a second. And we got a house full. I love it. And let me switch screens here. And then I'll bring up the share again. All right. So you should see my ChatGPT screen right here. So there's a couple ways you can train your GPT or your ChatGPT. I'm going to do this one, but the other ones should work similarly. But there's a couple ways to do it. So there's two places that you can input information to help train your AI. And again, this is after I've paid. This is the $20 a month. This will stick in there. I think you can do some training. It'll keep memories in the other free version, and that's fine. So you can practice with that if you have the free version. So there's two things. You can load the memory or you can upload information. So let me show you how we upload information. And I have a lot of screens. Whoa, we don't want that. I have a lot of screens going, so bear with me here. So personalization under the settings area. So again, let's go over a couple settings so you can set up your general settings here, notifications. We're going to look at personalization. So personalization, we're going to enable it to customize there at the top. You can pick a personality. I have a cheerful and adaptive personality, but you can also pick cynic, robot, listener, and nerd. So those are just some of the tones you can pick or personalities, or you can stick with the default. You're going to give it custom instructions. I put in tell it like it is, don't sugarcoat responses, take a forward thinking view and use an encouraging tone, be kind and human-like. So that is what I put in for custom instructions. You can put anything you want, but this is kind of talking about what kind of responses do you want. It also has some other things you can add as well. So you can then tell it about yourself. So I've got information about myself in here, and then memory. So this is the memory area. I'm gonna just bring up my memory area real quickly so we can manage this. But like, here's my social media links that I was telling you about. Here's my speaking voice guide. So those are things I put in chat and said commit to memory. And you can go in and review these on a regular basis. So I go in and I look at my memories, and you can delete things that aren't supposed to be a memory. So for example, I'll do some examples today, and it's in some of it that may commit to memory. I don't want those examples later. I don't want it to think I've opened a new business. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of those after this training. But here's my social links. Here's my core traits about me as what it should do, what it shouldn't do. And so those are my memories. Now I'm going to show you how you can load those memories up. You can also connect different applications. So I've connected my Canva account. Now let me tell you what it does with Canva. It will go in and scan anything you've done and you've produced in Canva. So that's another way to kind of train it for a project. So for example, when I asked for an outline for this presentation, I said, look at the first presentation and do an outline similar to that for the second presentation. So it went in, found this presentation in my Canva, and used that to help inform this presentation. You can connect Gmail, Google Calendar, Google Drive, all kinds of things, Box, Dropbox, GitHub, if you're a coder, HubSpot, contacts, all of this stuff. So that's all I've connected to this point. I use Google Drive all the time. It will go look at documents in your Google Drive. So again, you can have a folder that's all about your business, has your brand guide, has your CV or your resume, all of that in that drive, and it can go out and check that out and learn more about you. So that's a great way to do it as well. The other thing I did with Canva is I also then have it look at the presentation I just presented or just produced, and I ask it to look at gaps and did I forget anything, and it can go in and do that as well. There's schedules you can do. The schedules is having it complete tasks for you on a regular basis. That's pretty cool. So if I hit manage on that, I actually have a grant report that I run every 7 days. So every Friday, I ask it to go out and look for grants for me and my clients. So I load up my clients. I already did this. I loaded it up, told it the clients, told it the kind of grants I want. And every day, every Friday, it goes out and puts together a report and emails me a report. That's used to be called tasks, but now they're calling it schedules. So you can go in and have it do a task for you. You can have it give you a daily in the morning, send you a synopsis of your calendar for the day if you want. So that's pretty awesome. So the more it understands you and your business, the better it can do. All right, let's go back to a new chat and I'll break for questions here in a second. So what you want to do is you want to say, here are my brand colors, and you can put your hex codes in, and then you say commit this to memory. So every time you say commit to memory, that's when it loads that memory up. So you can add your hex codes here. You could hit the plus sign and add photos. So you could add your logo. You can add a brand guide if you have one, a brand voice. You can add your website and say commit all of this information to your memory. And then it will keep it there and use that every time you ask it questions that relate to that memory, if that makes sense. All right, George, do we have any questions so far about how to train the AI in your brand?
Right. So I got just a question here. Does the free version carry forward memories to the paid version?
Yes. So if you start with the free version and you have memories and then you upgrade that same account, the same account you signed up with, then it should carry the memories over. Yes.
Okay, good. Um, and also, I just had another comment from somebody that they went on their phone, and it appears that the free version of the app is on the phone as far as um, uh, free version of the phone. I went to app. So I think they were talking about, oh, they must be talking about ChatGPT. So yeah. Or is it, or was it, did you say something else, Janet, in regards to there's a free as far as if you sign up?
As long as you sign in with a email and log in to your account, whether you open it on your phone or this computer or a different computer or a iPad or something, as long as you're logged in, all of those chats and everything you do are all retained in that account, whether it's free or whether you upgrade.
Okay.
And when you upgrade, that should carry it along. So
Yeah.
if you have a chat on your phone
Yeah.
and then tomorrow you want to look at it on your laptop, it should be there in the history. Yeah.
Right. And I had a couple of people just say, hey, yes, the free version of ChatGPT is available on your phone. And a lot of people use it often. So you can quickly download that also. So I think that's it. We're ready to go on to the next subject.
All right. The only other thing I'll tell you on this one is if you look up here in the corner, turn on temporary chat. So if you are talking about something in ChatGPT that you don't want it to remember, either in the history on the side here, over on this side, over on this side, or you don't want it to put any of that into memory, then you can hit that button and then that chat will be private. It won't retain it. It won't remember it. It won't impact your account, and it'll be gone. So if you come back 2 days later and you want to finish that chat, it'll be gone. It won't be there anymore. So, but that's a way to avoid it keeping a memory if you don't want it to. All right, let's get back to our presentation. Okay. Excellent. All right. All right, so let's say you have everyday tasks that you continually want to go back to. You do it every day, you do it every week, you do it every month. So you can either schedule those, like I talked about that grant one that it does for me, and get a report, or you can create your own GPTs. Gemini calls them gems. I don't know what the other ones call it, but they all have a name for them, but they're the same thing. So we're going to talk about what could I use a GPT for, and then I'll show you how you can set one up quickly. So these are, again, anything you do more than once on a regular basis. So let's talk about internal applications. If you write a newsletter and you have a certain format and a certain tone, and maybe you have the same kind of parts. So you have this week in our business, new products, events coming up, that kind of thing. You have sectioned out. You can create a GPT that you program that will give you your newsletter, at least outline or format, or ask you questions to lead you through answering those questions to get your final product. So you can do that with newsletters. You can do that with blogs. You can load certain things in and it'll create a blog post in your voice for you. Email campaigns. If you have a regular email campaign or you're wanting to create a regular campaign that you send out on a regular basis, set up the formatting and the tone and the topics, and then it'll ask you questions or ask you for the details, and then it'll produce it in the format you want. Product launches. Product launches can be a daunting task. They require a lot of different pieces and parts. They might require a new landing page. They might require email communication flows, social media posts, all of those things. And you don't want to forget one of those steps. So you can create a GPT or a gem that will lead you through. It'll say, tell me about the new product. You tell it feature. It'll ask you features. It'll ask you whatever about that product you want to put forward. And then it'll start saying, well, here's some great search optimized website copy. Here's your website copy. Here's your email announcements. Here's your social media post announcements. And then you tweak those as you get those for that product launch. But it helps you keep in mind all the different pieces and parts you need for that product launch. And rather than retyping or recreating that product in each piece that you're creating, if you tell it about the product once, it'll spit out all of the different pieces and parts because you've pre-programmed that. So the work is up front. You do that ahead of time, and then you have your GPT just ask you about the product, and it produces all your stuff. For clients, you can have a GPT that'll help you do SEO or AEO optimization for that client. You can have a personalized onboarding GPT where you send them the link, because you can share these. You send them the link, they put in their information, and it walks them through onboarding them to your business. That could be a client or that could be a new employee. Maybe you change menus at a restaurant on a frequent basis. So you can put in the new ingredients you want to include, or the new recipes or whatever, and it may spit out for you the new menu that you want to then print out. Training plans. It can provide training plans. Again, you can share this with a new employee and say, tell us your current skills, and then it will personalize the training plan based on what you have already pre-programmed in it. So this, again, is upfront work for you, but then repeat. Account setups. So if you have to set up an account for a new person, you can have all those steps in the GPT, and it'll take care of spitting out all the different pieces and parts you need. So again, these are repeatable, and a process is a great thing to do because it can keep track of the process. It can go through the process. It won't forget a step, and it'll put everything together. For research, it's great. Grant searches. So you saw I have a task for that. You can also do a GPT for that. Report generation. If you have a report you have to produce every week, every month, every quarter, I know I would have loved this when I was in higher education. We had to do these reports that just killed me. Now you could just put a list of events or a list of whatever it is that you need to have in this report, or upload whatever documents. And if the GPT is programmed on the different pieces and parts of the report, boom, it kicks out your report. Now you just go in and you do the edits. Or comparisons. If you're constantly needing to compare two products, compare two services, you want to compare competitors, you can set up a GPT that'll do competitor comparison for you, load the competitor in there, and then it maybe spits out a table because it already knows your brand and it spits it out. So these are just some ideas, but you know your business. If you have things you're doing constantly or on a regular basis and it's process driven, GPTs are a great application. So let me go ahead and change screens again. I don't think I have another one on. Let me see here. Oh, yes, I have one more slide before we get to it. All right, so this is how you would create your custom GPT. And this is in GPT, but you can also do it in Gemini and use gems. So you go to chat, openai.com, explore GPTs, and then you create a GPT. You add a name and a description, but make it business relevant so you remember what it's for. Because after you create 3, 4, 5, 6 of these, you're like, I don't remember what that one does. Write specific custom instructions or process steps. You want to include a tone, the audience, what it should and shouldn't do. So you want to be very specific and act, if it's just like if you have a new employee walk in the door and you want them to do the same thing every day. You don't just go, hey, go create a schedule for the team this week. And they go, okay. You give them criteria. Everybody has to work X number of hours. Everyone has to have breaks. Everybody has, you give them criteria and benchmarks, and then they go create that schedule. Same thing here. Don't expect ChatGPT to read your mind, because I promise it can't. So you want to upload any reference files, FAQs again, brochures, product sheets, project parameters, steps, anything it needs to know to do this for you over and over and over. And then you want to test it and tweak it. So what I usually do, it has a test screen. I test it. If it does what I think it should do, then it's test number 1. But I keep tweaking it till it does what I want. And then I usually send it to someone else and say, will you run through this and see if it's useful to you to get this goal? And then see what their input is. And then I tweak it again. So you can always go back and edit this and make it better. Testing and tweaking can continue on as long as you have this GPT. There's also ones out there that you can use that other people have made. So if you have somebody that is reliable and you want to use their custom GPT, go for it. Test it out, see if it does what you need, and then use it. There's a couple that I do for that. So let me quickly stop sharing, and then I will show you how to quickly get started with a GPT. I know we're going fast. You may have to watch this thing again later. All right. You should be able to see my ChatGPT again. Let me get out of this. So here we have GPTs right over here, explore. So I'm going to hit explore. And when I do this, here's popular ones that I've produced. And then there's other ones. So you can start by using one that's already made just to get a feel for what it does. That's always a good place to start. Use it before you create one. So, but then once you think you've got it, so like here's my GPTs. I have a bunch. So I have a planning for YouTube. I have inclusive education document review, FRC, GHL snapshot builder. I've got all kinds of stuff. So let me go back a screen. So what you want to do is hit create. All right. And you're going to see this dual screen, at least in ChatGPT. Gemini might be a little different. You pick your model. I recommend the latest model for your GPT. And then you can hit configure. If you're new to this, I suggest you use the create tab because you tell it what you want it to do and it'll help you create it. So it'll guide you through that process. So your first one, this would probably be a great way to go. I don't use that anymore. I do my own. So you create a name, a description, instructions, and these instructions can be really long. So you can just keep adding to it and adding to it. Conversation starters, that's the boxes that pop up that you want somebody to choose. I usually just say, let's get started because I already know there's a specific path I want it to go down. Upload files, you can upload all kinds of files that you have, anything that will inform this GPT to do the right thing. So that's what it will use. You can either recommend a model, which is GPT-4, or either coding model, whatever you want, or you can just let it pick. And then you can tell it, I want it to use web search. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want it to use the documents you uploaded. So you can shut web search off. Canvas, that's when it puts it into a editable document format that you can interact with. Image generation. So you choose, or code interpreter and data analysis. So that's another version you can turn on. You can have a little icon that you can upload right there at the plus sign, but you just put in your instructions and then it just starts building it over here on the right. And then you ask questions to test it. So this is the test view. This will not be saved. So just keep that in mind, but you can test it and kick the tires. If it's not doing what you want, then you go right over here next door and you change the instructions. So you start doing instructions, you test, instructions, test. Once you start getting what you want out of it, then you hit up here and you hit create. And it's ready to go. And you can use it over and over and over and over. It keeps those instructions. It keeps everything you put in there. And you just keep launching it every time you need to do that repetitive task. All right. Do we have questions on this, George?
Yeah, I got just a few questions here. Is there value in having more than one AI tool when you're just getting started? With higher level usage, is it make difference to get two of them going tools? Or what's your thought on that?
I think so. I often, when I started, I would put the same commands in Gemini that I did in ChatGPT to see which one I liked better.
Okay.
I still go back to to Gemini sometimes. I have a gem in Gemini that's really good that I use instead of in a GPT. I love Notebook LM, which we talked about the last time, but we don't have time today to get into that. But Notebook LM is really a great tool for keeping everything enclosed and just pulling on the things you want it to. So I do agree with that. But if it's all so overwhelming that you're like, wait, I just want one tool and I want to try it out, then try one of these. If you got the Perplexity Pro, use that one. If you got that for free through PayPal, go use that one and really kick the tires on that one. I think you'll find you'll start having ones you like better. And then obviously use the paid ones for your important work first. But I still go to Claude sometimes, and I don't pay for that, but I use free Claude sometimes and see what I get out of that. Sometimes I do research in Perplexity. I get that output and I throw it in GPT and I start doing ChatGPT with the research I got from Perplexity. So
Thanks, Janet. Here's another question. How do you keep AI from squelching creativity? Question mark. If it produces documents in the same style uh, into, memory all the time, so that's kind of the question there.
yeah,
So
that's a great
what are your
question.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So we definitely don't want it to do that. I always have it tell it to ask me any questions you need to complete this task. So if I have a new thing I'm having it do, I always say, ask me any questions you need. That allows it to ask me questions and me input my creativity, my thoughts, my style, what I want. As far as like a tone, the tone is really just so it copies my writing style, which will probably always be very similar or the same. But you can also tell it produce something completely outside my writing style for me to look at and respond to. It will do what you tell it. So if you tell it don't use my voice or don't use my style, it won't. But my style is my style. It has been for X number of years. I won't really reveal that, but a lot of years. So, so I mean, initial pass-throughs I want to be in my style. But then I supply that creativity. You can always highlight a response, and it'll put up a question, and you say, I don't like this paragraph. It's too serious. It's too formal. It's too casual, and it will change the style. Or you can say, add this in, take this out. I think people think they have to take what they get, but they don't. That's where you add you in there. You tell it, this isn't good enough. I want this. Please change that. Add this in. I want to cover this. I knew what we wanted to cover today. A lot of you had these as requests. So I told it, outline part 2 for this, but here's the things we want to cover. And so I put in that creativity. You put in that creativity when all of you from the first class told me what you want to learn about. So I think that's how you keep the creativity going.
Okay. Here, another quick question, Janet. Can you upload a full company handbook for creating
Sure.
custom GPT? Is that possible?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I don't know limits, especially on the paid version. I don't know that there's limits. If you're going to do like a whole brand, a brand that you want maybe then it to take a synopsis of, I would load all that in Notebook LM and just have it pull from your brand that you've loaded and not hallucinate or grab things from other people's brands. And then maybe tell it to put out a brand guide that you then load in Gemini or ChatGPT, because Notebook LM, I have a notebook for my brand and I load all of our stuff in there, and I can ask it about any product or any brand or anything I want because it's all loaded in there. So I would start with that. But yes, you can upload, and I encourage that, because who wants to go through and find the little sentence that said this about this little requirement?
Okay, and here's one other question. It might be a little long, but could you share how grant searching reports work for you? Question mark. Our nonprofit launched with ChatGPT support is now in the prospecting phase and preparing um, and 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 so your insight would be help if you identify donors and partners to close critical gaps in the traumatic brain injury care, following
Mm,
family to focus on healing rather than hardship. So it's kind of a long question, and it kind of broke up here. It's between, but did you get the gist of that, Janet?
yeah, I think
Okay.
that I would love for that person to reach out to me, maybe on email, so we can have another conversation about that. But um, you can put in the parameters. You can say, I'm looking for nonprofit partners in this space, in this city or nationally. I think Perplexity or Claude might do a better job of finding that stuff for you. I've had a little struggle with ChatGPT finding grants. It does find me grants, but sometimes the deadlines are passed, which I've told it, don't give them to me if the deadlines are passed. Sometimes it says, well, the deadline's passed, but next year you should do this one. Okay, that's fair. Um, so but that's a lot of different pieces and parts. So I would break that down. If you're looking for partners, have one of these AI go out and look for partners and look at that and see what you think of the partners it's chosen. And then maybe take those partners descriptions, put it in and say, now find a grant or foundation that believes in this type of work and would work with these type of partners. So I think that's a multi-step situation. But I would love to talk to that person more. I think that's
Okay.
a great question.
Yep. Okay. We're ready to move on.
All right, I'm going to talk about where I knew this was going to be tight. All right, social media with AI. So there's multiple parts to running social media in your business, right? There's the strategy, the planning, and the content creation. You can do each of these different parts with some assistance from AI. So does this replace a full-blown established marketing company? No, they have tons of experience. They know, and they're constantly watching all the trends and all the changes and all the algorithms and all the things. So if you can hire a marketing company, go for it. It's really important for your business. But if you can't, or if you're a single solo entrepreneur, or this is a side hustle, you can get a little assistance from AI to help move the needle. So you can use it for strategy. You can feed in the audience, the platform, how often you want to post to social media, what your goals are. Are you trying to get leads? Are you trying to get more followers? Or are you trying to get more people through your store? What is it you're trying to do with social media? Are you trying to gain authority so people trust you and hire you for whatever? Tell it your goals, tell it your pillars. And what I mean by pillars is, what are the main areas you want to post in? Do you want to post in product reviews? Do you want to post in education? What are the main 2 or 3 areas, 4 areas at the most, that you want to post in? You can help get your strategy together by loading those things in AI and having it produce a strategy for you. And then you have a conversation and tweak it. You can use it for planning. You can create a content calendar. Once you have your strategy, you can tell it, all right, now create a content calendar for the next 6 months. You can use Canva or other AI tools and import the schedule into Sheets. So you can have a created table schedule and import it into Sheets or Excel. Canva, I'm telling you, Canva is really getting crazy good with this. So you can create a sheet in Canva and you can create a content calendar pretty quickly. They have some great videos out there on that, where it will create all your different sizes for you. It will load in all your different headlines and all the different pieces of keywords. It's crazy. Check that out. Check a video on that. It would take me way too long to show you that. But you can also do that in any of the AI tools, as long as it knows your brand, it knows your goals, it knows what you want to do. It can help you with that. Style, you have to put in your style, like casual, formal. What are you looking for? What platforms do you most frequently post on? And cadence again. So I want to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I want to post once a week. I want to post every day. I want to post 3 times a day, whatever it is. You have to let it know that. But that will come from the strategy piece. So keep that in mind. And then content creation. It will help you do captions, calls to action, which is CTAs, keywords, images. I'm still not fond of all the images it does, but you can get some decent ones from some of the different platforms. Google is really going crazy with image generation. I don't know if any of you played with it, but it can do some pretty sweet images. And then do the different sizes for the different platforms, or like if you need a carousel or whatever it is you need, it can really help with at least suggestions or move you in the right direction. As long as you give it guidance. It's not, again, it's like you can't have someone walk in your door and say, hey, do social media for me. And they go, okay. And you love everything they do because they know nothing about you, your business, or what goals you have. So you have to provide that. All right. Search and AEO. Well, I'm going to keep going because we're going to run out of time, I think. So keep your questions about social media maybe, and we'll ask it here at the end. Search and AEO. We had this question last time. If you look on the screen, you'll see a QR code. I created a GPT that helps you do some of this SEO and AEO work if you want to check it out. I hope it works. Let me know if it doesn't, and I'll make sure I fix it. But anyway, search and AEO. So how do people find your business on the internet? You have to do 2 things now: search engine optimization and answer engine optimization. So search engine optimization is showing up in search. It's the focus to get you up higher in the search is keywords, which are either phrases or words that are associated with your services or products that people might be searching for. Your goal is to rank on the search results page so that page that pops up on Google. It's called the search engine results page, or the SERP page. That's where you see ads first, then you see rankings. You want to show up in those rankings towards the top of the SERP page because people don't scroll down very far. So the kind of searches people would be doing, for example, would be best bakery near me, or best cupcakes near me, or cake decorating, decorated cakes near me. So those are things you want to rank high. You pop up, they click on you, they go come to your bakery or call and order a cake. Okay. So that involves your website and having Google Business Profile. Those are the two things you want to make sure happen there. And you need keywords in your descriptions and headlines. You need backlinks. And your site needs to be fast. So if your site is slow, you have massive pictures that take 30 seconds to load, Google doesn't like that, and they're going to lower you down on the search page. Now, keep in mind, I could do an entire hour on SEO, an entire hour on AEO, and then, so we're doing the quick, hot, fast stuff here. Answer engine optimization is what's coming now, because if you notice, it's not the ads and then the search ranks, it's now AI, the ads and the search ranks. So AI is at the top. People are really upset about that. I get it. But you can optimize your website for that as well. So what you want to focus on your website is conversational, Q&A style, and trusted sources. So questions and answers. Think of answer engine optimization as people asking questions. So for example, how do I make better cupcakes? Or how do I make the best tasting cake? Or something like that. That's what they're putting in there. You want to pop up for that. So you need to have blog posts or content in there that answers some of those questions. Lots of FAQs. If your website doesn't have FAQs, load it up. If you don't know what to do, put it in ChatGPT, say, here's my website, make me a set of FAQs. Think of the questions you get every day at your business. Those are the FAQs you want. You want that AI search to pull your information in that you have on your website as the answer for that person. Then they'll see, because there's always a little link in the answers. They'll click on you and they'll come find you. So maybe you post recipes or blog posts, or you say, we have the best cupcakes in town because we use the most natural ingredients. All right. So why are your cupcakes the best, or where's the best? You're answering questions. So to win at both, write for people, not robots. Use questions and answers. Keep your content fresh and accurate. If you don't touch your website in 2 years, Google won't either. Show authority and trust. So it's good to put reviews on there. It's good to put testimonials on there. And diversify your content. So you want FAQs, you want social media posts out and about, you want blogs, you want guides, you want any of that kind of content you have. Now, if you're like Janet, you now want me to write social media posts and redo my website. I cannot do that. I get it. Pick small battles, small wins. If you add FAQs tomorrow or this week, that's a huge win. You are going to do better on AEO and SEO if you can add FAQs to your website this week. So it's little things, little steps that move you closer. But these are long-term type of things. These don't happen overnight. You have to start and just keep working on it. And then eventually you'll keep rising in the search. But if you do nothing else, do your Google Business Profile, because if you do that, then that's already going to SEO you right away. So that would be huge. All right. So I hope people have had a chance to check out that GPT. Let me see. What do we got next here? We're running out of time. All right. So well, let me do this. So next steps. Go in and train your AI with business basics. Build one GPT for repetitive marketing tasks, or I would argue just find one that you like. If you don't want to build one, you're like, well, I don't know enough to build one. Go out and find one that's out there. Try it and see if it gives you good results. Maybe that you save that one and use that one. Test AI generated content on social this week, but tell it to do it in your voice. See if that social does better than the social you were doing without it. If it does worse, don't do that or tweak your AI. If it does better, all right, you're onto something. And then rewrite one page of your website in a Q&A style for AEO, or I argue just add FAQs. AI is your intern. It is not your CEO, so let it speed you up, not take over your business. You certainly don't want that. All right, what time is it? We've got 5 minutes for some questions.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and while people are asking questions, I'm going to give you I want to show you 2 different slides. This QR code will take you to our community. One or two of you joined the last time. It's just a small business community. It's completely free. I post there when I can, and you could meet some other people and get some tips and tricks. So I'll leave that up. You can also follow us on YouTube at Future Ready Consulting. All right, George, what do we got?
Okay, so question here. Are all of these tasks available on one GPT application, or are these tasks best performed with specialized apps?
I would separate these out. So if you don't have a social media strategy, I would either find a GPT or train one of the AI tools on your business and then say, hey, let's discuss a social media strategy. And or say, ask me questions to help me format my social media strategy. And then I would say, if you don't even know what command to give, just say, ask me questions to do this goal. And then it will start leading you. What it'll ask you about your strategy. It'll ask you the questions that it needs to move forward if you're just totally stuck. Then I would do one on planning. I would do those all separate. Once you start creating a social media calendar that you like over time, then you could ask that chat and say, can you create instructions for a GPT? So I can just create a GPT that'll do this for me all the time. So then you can just launch your social media GPT calendar maker every quarter and just have it work on your social media. But that takes time and training, just like it would if you hired a social media person tomorrow. You guys would have to work together a while to work out those details.
Okay. I'm going to leave room. I might have missed a question. I'm reviewing them, but if somebody has one more question, we have time for one more. So can you put that question in the chat right now? And we'll ask Janet.
I just want to tell everybody I appreciate you all. And this is to my Google reviews page. So if anybody wants to leave a review, that'd be great. If you don't, that's cool too. But I want to train you to ask for reviews. So in order to get you to ask for reviews, I got to ask for reviews.
Right.
So
Okay.
that is to my reviews.
Here is, okay. Can we get well, first of all, let me say this has been recorded and we'll send it all to everybody here. Okay. No problem. And also from the first live AI presentation, if you registered for that, we're going to get you the slides for that also. Our next with the Main Street Connected series on digital marketing and using artificial intelligence in your business, our next program is going to be live in person October 14th. So it's only 2 weeks from today. Registration is now open. You register through, the invitation there, and there's a link right there to register. It's through Eventbrite, but it's on using e-commerce. So how can you get extra sales in your small business using e-commerce? And Janice really has a lot of good tools, AI tools that we could use for e-commerce, and it'll be a great program. So I urge you to come. It'll be held here at our office at 2100 Pontiac Lake Road, the executive offices here at Oakland County. Okay, we're in Waterford. Other than that, also the next in November 14th, about a week before, 10 days before Thanksgiving, we're having another virtual Zoom meeting. And that one will be on using AI tools for how to update your Google business profile. And also, we're going to use AI tools and how do you put a marketing schedule together that's on automatic, so you have a calendar and a schedule and how you do that. So a lot of good things for small business owners. So those are the two programs we have going on. And I'm looking at the chat here. Um, I don't think I'm seeing anything. A lot of good positive comments. I appreciate it. Also, with Janet's, do you have any feedback to Janet? Do you have any personal questions in regards to your business that you want to go further in depth? I'm sure Janet will be able to help you with that also. Okay, based on this presentation. So thank you very much, Janet. Thank you for a fantastic presentation, and we look forward to seeing everybody. If you could make it to October 14th, the live in-person presentation on e-commerce, and then on November 18th the Zoom meeting on updating your Google business profile and using AI tools to do your marketing calendar and marketing plan.
Yeah, we'll
Okay?
go into more detail. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great, George. Thank you.
All
Thank you
right.
all so much.
All right. Thank you now. Bye-bye.